What is going on, my fur balls? In this AMA, we talk with the team from AgentLayer, go through all the questions you guys were wanting answered. Don't forget to enter that giveaway. You do not want to miss out on a free AgentLayer node. So let's go ahead and jump into this AMA. What's going on, my hairballs? This is Dr. Wookiee. We got Matthew here from AgentLayer to chat about some questions we got regarding everything, but I guess really just jumping right into it. After the initial introduction here, I think we'll jump into some of the node questions before we get back to the ecosystem, just because a lot of my subscribers here and followers love to talk about nodes and everything in regards to that. But just starting out, what is AgentLayer and how did it kind of come to be?
Yeah, so I think kind of big picture, I like to think of AgentLayer as like a kind of platform that provides the tooling for people and developers to create their own AI agents that can work together in a kind of decentralized and permissionless manner, and then for users to come and access these different types of agents that can help them with a variety of different things. So, for example, like maybe I should take a step back really quick and talk about what AI agents actually are. I like to think of them as essentially being like any AI, like a chatbot that can actually take real world action, right? So, for example, a simple one might be purchasing a plane ticket for you on your behalf, or something like placing an order to buy groceries, and then having them kind of delivered to your house, right? And so, essentially, what we're trying to do is have a platform where people can access these types of agents and help them with things that go on their daily lives, as well as having the resources to help developers build these types of things. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So, are you guys kind of targeting and trying to get other kind of bigger AI groups to build on Agent Layer, or is Agent Layer initial focus and or both for almost like individual folks? I'm trying to think of like when people build little, almost like little web apps, that people can purchase or put on to I
Yeah.
don't think Facebook's doing it, but yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So definitely, I think. I'm not sure if people are familiar with like the like ChatGPT, but
Oh yeah.
essentially, if you used it before, there's actually a maybe lesser known component of it called the GPT store, and so far on there, there's like people that can create their own. It's called GPTs, which are essentially just chatbots, with different kind of personalities and focused on different things. Like you can have one that's like a here's a GPT that specifically tells you like which shit coins to buy, for example, right? There's a million of different types of them like that. And so I think at the beginning for us, what we'd like to do is kind of be like that GPT store, but for AI agents specifically, and for kind of and of course having it being decentralized and permissionless. And so like kind of what I'm thinking about this from a kind of a long term perspective is. Like people can come in here, they can find different AI agents that they would find useful for various different things. So whether that's like helping you code something or placing orders for plane tickets, groceries, stuff like that. And then when you access that, you pay with the agent token to access it, and then and that kind of ties into the reward system for nodes and whatnot. So maybe we could jump into that if you're interested. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things about the nodes. So I guess the first thing is
Mhm.
is just kind of guide me through, I guess, what the purpose of the node is, because I guess from the initial thing, it's like like a lot of the nodes where you purchase it and you're getting the token, but what else I guess is kind of behind it.
Mhm. Yeah, so of course, like so I'd say there's a couple of benefits, and I'll start with like the monetary ones because those are of course the most interesting. And so, like if you purchase a node, then you get access to like this kind of pool that's set aside. And so like at the moment, it's 200,000 tokens per day. There's a pool, and then that's distributed evenly among node holders, right? So let's
Right.
say there's like 10 people that own nodes. There's like 5,000 now, but let's say there's 10, right? So then each person would get like 2,000 per day, and then that happens for like a year, and then it starts halving and whatnot until like 4 years later, where it stops. But that kind of pool goes on for a long time, so that's kind of the monetary benefit. That's one of the monetary benefits. The second one is like you get access to like essentially revenue sharing, and so we've talking about like these agents and people building them and having this store, right? And so like as a holder of like the node, you get access to like the entire kind of ecosystem of agents and then the revenue. So you get a little bit of revenue share there. So like the person that makes the agent, they get the biggest cut, right? And then we take a little bit. and then the node owners, as well as anybody that holds tokens and whatnot, would also like get some of it as well. But mostly the node owners would get access to that. So those are kind of the two, I think, big like monetary benefits of holding a node. And of course, you can refer people, and then that gives you instant USDT cashback as well. And then aside from that, there's also other not monetary, not monetary benefits exactly to begin with, but like you can vote, right, governance, and
Right.
so there's various different things along those lines, and other such benefits.
So I'm assuming with the store and everything too, is that going to be like stuff purchased in agent, or is there going to be
Mhm. That's
additional
right.
currencies on there as well?
Yeah, so at the moment we're thinking just the agent token, and using that as kind of the main thing for transactions, but definitely open to other things later as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I know you mentioned the 200,000 agent a day that's distributed among the node holders, which comes out to like that's like 42 a day at the moment with the 4,500 5,000 nodes on. Um, is that going to be well? Obviously, with having obviously that can't be permanent. So and I don't know if I saw like what the schedule was going to be like for that.
Yeah, I can explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so basically it's gonna be 200,000 for the first year. And then after that, it's going to be 100K. So it halves
Okay.
for next 1.5 years, and then it halves again for the next 1.5 years. So total
Okay.
4 years that this will be distributed. Yeah.
Okay. And then after those 4 years, that pool is basically gone for the APGN nodes, and then it'll be revenue sharing, whatever's kind of in the revenue sharing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And I mean, at that point, I think there's probably going to be other streams of revenue, other products that you get, like discounted access to, and early access to because you're a node owner. I mean, there's going to be obviously many different types of benefits, but at least just at the moment, there's, because we're still pretty early. Those definitely these types of benefits, but we see many more in the
Right.
future as well. Yeah.
And I'm just pulling up here on the screen real quick just because I wanted to look. So with the tokenomics, is the so I mean I could do the math, but is the all the agent that's being distributed to the nodes over those 4 years, is that in the tokenomics? Like, is it under community building and ecosystem building,
It
or
is, yeah.
okay?
It is, but it's not that much of a percentage actually if you think about it, right? So if we just did some math, right? So it's 200,000 a day. So let's say 200,000 times 300 is what? Let's see, 600,000, 60 million, I think. So around somewhere around 70 million. And then it halves, and then that happens again. So I think I don't remember exactly what the
Yeah.
number is, but it
So
comes out to somewhere around like 150 million-ish over 4 years,
yeah,
I
if
believe.
I do some dirty math, maybe like 160 million or so. So yeah, like
Exactly. Yeah.
16% maybe ish. I
Yeah.
mean, I can do
Yeah. And
exact
then that
math if I want to, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. It's I think somewhere around there.
Okay.
Just quick math from my end as well. And so yeah, that would be around there's a billion in circulation, so right, that's 16% of the total, but there's 52%, I believe, is the number that's for the community and ecosystem. And so there's still a significant chunk of that left over.
Right.
Yeah.
And not that you guys have to be, but because people always mention this because it's crypto and they love to hear the word burning or deflation, is there anything that's even been thought of for that in any regard with like the agent token as well? Because I know it's a max supply of a billion, period. So, if anything disappeared, that would just
Mhm.
decrease supply.
Yeah, so at the moment, that we've thought about it, but there's no like mechanics in place for that at the moment. But I think really just at the moment, like when we release, when we do that, token generation event, which by the way happens late July. But that I think that plus some other considerations we have should keep things relatively stable when it does go live. And I think we've thought about some other things, but at the moment, trying just to get the ecosystem going, right? Like with the
Oh, yeah.
developer SDK for the agents, that's coming end of this month. And then, like I said, the listing is end of July, and then mainnet launch in September, and then various things after that. So I think we have thought about it, but it just haven't come up with anything too specific at the
No,
moment
I
yet.
mean, and I think it's healthy already. I looked at the vesting schedules and everything, and
Mhm.
it's all going to be at such a pace that it's not going to be wild anyways. And then even then, once you get
Mhm.
it out,
Yeah,
it's out, right? And there's no more. So, um,
exactly.
okay. Uh, besides, I guess purchasing on the store, any other utilities for the agent token?
So at the moment, yeah, it's mainly for transactions. And then of course you can, stake and various other things along those lines as well. like most projects. But I think definitely we have some things planned for the near future for it. But I won't say too much about it now. But I think there's definitely other utilities that are going to come
And
with it.
you mentioned transactions. Is that like on the chain or
Yeah.
where? Okay.
Yeah. So
And
so basically, yeah. Go ahead.
well, yeah, this is kind of skipping down my list here, but so you guys, this is your own L1, right? The agent layer,
So
or
it's
is it
it's an
built on
L2
something?
actually. Yeah, it's built. It's an L2, but I think basically, yeah, the transactions would be like if since these agents are deployed on chain, right? And so like obviously there's some sort of gas fee that needs to happen when you interact with it, or essentially like purchase. It's basically purchase its services, all right? Like having it do something for you. And so, yeah, that costs some amount of money. And so, paying for that plus the gas is essentially what the tokens are used for in this case.
Okay, gotcha. Because yeah, at least for a lot of these like chains and stuff, whenever you have something that's
Mhm.
like utilized a ton, you want to keep the friction down, so you don't want like a massive amount of gas being required for like something that's being utilized over and over and over. But of course, you can't have it free because then people will just bomb your network and
Yeah,
destroy
then
everything either too.
regardless.
Right? So, listing plan for agent. A lot of times, folks can't really say much about the central exchanges, dexes, but I'll see what we can get out of you, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, definitely nothing guaranteed, but I can say we've been in talks with a couple of big ones, like KuCoin, OKX, and things are going pretty well there. So no guarantees, but I'm thinking we'll be able to list on a pretty reputable and well known
Yeah.
exchange for this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of those exchanges too, which I've always tried to help my community, because some exchanges, right? It's like if you're American, you can't
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Palau ID. Apparently, you can get an ID from Palau, and it's digital, and
Oh,
that's pretty good.
interesting.
That'll get you through most things. But anyways, um,
Uh, mhm.
will we be able to trade the nodes at any point? Will they be NFTs?
So at the moment, no, but a lot of people have been asking for this, and so that's kind of where the governance and whatnot comes in handy. And so I think, yeah, it's something we're looking into, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming months that this is available. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then anything specific that's going to happen in the nodes that aren't being sold? I'm assuming they'll just sit there and
Yeah, they'll just sit there. I think there's again kind of has to do with the governance, but if people want to redistribute them among already the people that own the nodes as kind of like an additional reward, that's possible. We could make it like rewards that developers or people in the ecosystem can earn through contributions and whatnot. So yeah, we're open to different things, but at the rate they're going, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all gone
yeah.
uh, relatively quickly in the coming months. Yeah,
Yeah, especially after tokens listed and everything else, stuff is moving.
exactly. Mhm.
What are the funds from the APGN node sale used for? Is there any like percent allocation graph text somewhere at all? I was just curious.
So at the moment, no, but basically, I can give a brief rundown. So I think a fair amount of it is obviously going to go to operations, and for us to do marketing and make sure that we have the technical developments as well, because this is a pretty technical product in and of itself, and so making sure those agents work well and that we have the resources for people to build easily on top of. I think that's kind of very important. And then, but in addition to that, I'd say most of the funds actually are going to go into things like to help support the ecosystem. So hackathons, various other things along those lines that really get people excited to build on top of this.
Yeah. Do you know what the agent token is? Is it going to be like an ERC20 or a BEP20? Do you know?
I think probably ERC 20, but yeah, I'd have to go check on
Okay,
that. Yeah.
gotcha. And then what kind of drew you guys, I guess, to the Web3 AI world? And then how big is the
Mhm.
team?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically the team, so just a bit of context, is around like 12 people at the moment. But basically it's a lot of the same team from a previous project that did pretty well called MetaTrust. It's essentially like a security protocol. Raised like $10 million a couple years ago and did well. And so that's why like it was pretty easy to get started with funding on this one because a lot of the same people were like, "Oh, you're doing another project?" I'm like, yeah, sure. It was like we definitely want in. And so yeah, I'd say the team has been in Web3 for a while, anyways, but also has been in AI for a while. And so a lot of the team are like PhDs, and one of them's co-founders, professor at a pretty well-known university in Singapore. And so it really just been in AI for a while and written own papers, built our own language model, things along those lines. So really, been in AI and been in blockchain for a while. So obviously these two have been we're trying to marry these things, and so are a lot of other people. But I think the advantage for us is we've been doing this for a long time already. So definitely see the future here.
Yeah. All right. No, that makes sense. Um, what do you think the sets agent layer apart from like the other Web3 projects?
Mhm. So I would say, like, again, kind of just what we talked about, but the technical aspects of our team is really strong. Like we're actually, building things and being innovative. And I think like I can probably find a link to a paper, but essentially, wrote a paper on like security auditing in Web3 using like large language models and AI. And we actually built like an agent on our website that I can also send a link to. That's specifically used to help developers like audit things. So it's like smart contracts and detect vulnerabilities and stuff along those lines. So something we've been doing for a long time, and we've also trained our own large language model, done a bunch of fine tuning and various other things like that. So I've been doing this for a while, and I think it's almost like at least from a technical perspective, I'd like to think of it as like AI first, then blockchain. And so I think the blockchain is really just a way for us to take what we've built and get it out in front of more people and kind of create this flywheel where everybody's incentivized to be a part of the system and help it grow. So I think that's really what sets us apart.
Nice. Um, and then, security, talking about that, security obviously within, the AI world's been a big topic lately. I think even Musk
Mhm.
just literally posted something about, ragging on Apple and about how they're just giving over all their information to Chat
Yep.
GPT and,
Oh, that, yeah.
yeah, that's been like a huge topic. So I guess the big thing is, what's Agent Layer's like solution to keeping like the community safe, maintaining integrity, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I think it starts with like the AI side of things, and so basically, I won't get too technical, but basically for AI, like if you deploy something, so I'll talk about it from an enterprise perspective. So enterprises that like so kind of, we'll leave Web3 off to the side for now, but enterprises in general, so large companies with lots of people, they have lots of proprietary data, right? And so it's been a bit of a struggle for these large language models, these AI companies to say like, oh yeah, use our product because it's like, well, fuck, why would I put my why would I put my proprietary data and that's worth so much money into your AI so they can train on and have access to it, right? So kind of the same privacy thing you were just talking about. And so the solution they have there is like deploying on premise. So it's called on prem deployment, and basically what happens there is like it's basically a private instance of ChatGPT or whatever AI model, and so all of the inputs that go into it never leave the premises or the servers that they run on. And so blockchain essentially enables the same thing if you set it up properly, so that like whatever you input into the large language model is never kind of taken out and being used to be trained on. And so I think when we have that set in place, along with other security measures, makes it very safe and like private, so that your data is never going to be out there when you don't want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's difficult sometimes for Web3 to understand because of the whole blockchain side, and it's like nothing's private because you can always go to the blockchain and look,
Yeah. Hmm.
depending what it is you're looking for as well. Um,
Hmm.
but obviously, I guess every blockchain doesn't have to be having it. Not every blockchain has like all the data, right? If there's a transaction, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean like you see
Mhm.
the entire like game that was just played when the transaction is showing like who won a
Exactly.
game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you'll still see like for example that like, this person paid agent token to use this, whatever agent that they want to use. But you're not going to see like the conversation that happened or what was uploaded and things along those lines. So like you said, it's the details, the important details aren't there. Of
yeah.
course, but you can see that it's happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the trust has been a big issue with AI too, because we've seen like Google and Microsoft and all these big companies push out their stuff, and people immediately are like, "Look what this AI tells me when I put in X thing," So you can always see all like the biases of the developers or whatever that's being
Oh yeah.
produced.
Yep.
So
Yeah, with Gemini, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gemini, yeah. So I think that's a big part for people too, is being able to see kind of that trust and visibility with the AI models and stuff. So.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
In what ways do you see the I guess the AI protocols expanding and being used like in the real world, like real world applications?
Yeah, so I think definitely I think if we can just become that platform where people come and build these AI agents that can collaborate with each other and people can access and use, I think that's already a huge win, because even in the Web2 space, I don't see anything like this at the moment. And I think the reason is because there's no incentive mechanism, right? So like if I go and use your SDK or whatever to build an AI agent, like okay, like how do I make sure that it gets out in front of people? How do I make sure that people are actually using it? And then, what if other people create something similar, right? How am I supposed to make sure that I'm the one getting, you know, paid for what I do, right? Whereas in Web3, I think it's a lot easier to do because there's the incentives are all aligned, right? Like for example, if I own one of these nodes on agent layer, and I can go and choose, and I can say, oh, I really like this person's agent and I want to invest in it. And I want more of my revenue sharing from the entire platform to be geared towards this specific agent and this specific developer, right? And then like you could even do certain things like, later on we're thinking kind of to become like a, or at least have the ability to become like angel list. So I don't know if
Yeah,
you're
right.
familiar with it, but it's like, right, basically there's startups there and you can choose to invest in startups if you're an accredited investor. And so kind of the same thing, right? You can choose to invest in people that are building these AI agents, and kind of, not just like revenue sharing, but saying like, oh, like I want a percentage of, if you have a company, or a percentage of this agent, right? And its revenue. And so yeah, I think definitely lots of things out there, and I think exciting things because of course the technology is still getting better, and so the capabilities of these AI agents are going to improve. So right now, I would say it's still like there's still kind of restricted to relatively simple things, like being able to purchase a plane ticket or buying your groceries, which are useful, of course. But then I think in the future, as it gets better at coding, which it already is, right, it can
Right.
kind of serve as like a junior developer already for lots of different, maybe like front end simple UI UX stuff. It's already pretty good at that. But as it gets, the capabilities improve, and then the need for more agent to agent collaboration increases, then there's just going to be more and more value accrued. And so if we can kind of become that platform where all that value is accruing, then I think, yeah, it'd be very, very successful. So
Yeah, no, no, I agree, and I think we'll see a pretty big AI boom, in these next 10, 20 years. I think I think it's gonna explode. I think people are gonna be super surprised, kind of like just how like smartphones, change the
yeah,
dynamic and stuff.
yep,
It'll come, it'll be there. I mean, and like you
it'll
said,
come. Yeah.
every different AI has been getting better and better. I mean, these image generators are superb in my
Oh
opinion,
yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
the video
100%.
ones are getting going. We got ones for medical stuff, which I would know as well. Some of these
Mhm.
medical AIs that are doing better already, reading radiographs and stuff like that. So it's gonna be
Yep.
real interesting and intriguing how everything continues to kind of evolve as we move forward.
Definitely. Definitely. And I think Web3 is going to play, blockchain is going to play a very big role in all this as well.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah, definitely, definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else big picture that you're excited, looking forward to, platform or any leaks you're able to drop?
Yeah, I guess yeah, the biggest thing is just the listing is happening soon, end of July. So I think things are gonna really pop off when that happens. And then yeah, I think SDK as well. I think that's the big one. I'm as I'm a developer as well, and so that to me is one of the big things. It's like, okay, actually be able to build on here, and see how everything works, and then getting people onboarded to that, hosting hackathons and whatnot for people to build on it. I mean, at least being a bit nerdy, I think that's kind of what excites me as well. But no, I think there's a lot of value already in what we're building, and then I think I see really good things for us in the near future and long term future as well with where AI is headed.
Awesome. Yeah, no, super excited to see just everything kind of progress forward and agent layer and see the agent token drop as well. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
thanks for coming on, answering some of these questions. Definitely appreciate it. So,
yeah. Thank you for having me here. I enjoyed it. So.
yeah, absolutely. And as always, stay warm, Wookiees.